ABC News Live.
Tonight, scorched earth. The fast-moving wildfire spreading throughout California, forcing evacuations and endangering millions, with more than 15,000 acres already burned. We report from the fast-growing blaze and the heat dome, bringing potentially historic temperatures to the majority of the country. How long it'll last and the areas impacted up ahead. Plus,
this is the defining public health challenge of our time.
the new warning from the Surgeon General, sounding the alarm on social media, calling for health warning labels to be applied to platforms. What happens next, the impact it could have on young users, and the reaction nationwide. And
of course it's bad. I have kind of depression or apathy, I don't know, because I don't see my family. You know, you're losing point of your life, you're losing goal of your life, because the family is the most important stuff in your life.
the battle for Ukraine could rest on a war raging in the country's second largest city. In tonight's Prime Focus, we report on the battle for Kharkiv from the view of Ukrainians living through the war. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the thousands of Israeli protesters marching from parliament to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home, demanding elections and an end to the war in Gaza and the return of the remaining hostages. Plus, the tens of thousands of marijuana convicts who were just pardoned. Why and who's behind the move? And the school year is wrapping up in much of the country. That means summer camp is about to get into full swing, but it's the astronomical cost that's giving some parents sticker shock. That is tonight's By the Numbers. But we do begin with that cross-country heat wave, the likes of which have not been seen in decades. Tonight, 270 million Americans are set to deal with temperatures above 90 degrees. That's more than 80% of Americans. From the west to the Midwest to the Northeast, few areas will be spared the scorching heat. The Great Lakes region, including Chicago, saw temperatures near 100 degrees today. New England communities could set all-time heat records this week. The heat combined with fierce winds have fueled wildfires in the West. More than a dozen have erupted in just the past 3 days. 1,200 people forced to evacuate, buildings and vehicles burning in just minutes. And it's not just here at home. Overseas, at least 14 people are dead after extreme heat in Saudi Arabia during the Hajj pilgrimage. Temperatures skyrocketing as high as 116 degrees. Our Ginger Z is standing by to time out all that heat here at home. But first, our Kana Whitworth is on the fire lines tonight and leads us off from California.
Tonight, wind-driven wildfires scorching thousands of acres and forcing evacuations across California. Red flag warnings up for much of the state. North of Los Angeles, the Post Fire burning more than 15,000 acres since Saturday. Conditions fueling its explosive spread.
Low relative humidity at 15%. The winds were kicking up 30-mile-an-hour gusts. And then we had one of the hottest weekends that we've had in a while. So all those in alignment with this terrain, that fire took off.
Some 1,200 people evacuated, 3 hikers rescued, including a child. Those on the front lines not catching a break.
Unfortunately, the firefight here is going to be a tough one. We're talking about 40-mile-per-hour sustained winds all the way through midnight.
The air attack on this fire is crucial, but because it's so windy, not all helicopters can be in the air right now. That's why something like this, a sky crane, is so important. It's using a snorkel to draw water out of the lake. But because it's a bigger, heavier aircraft, it can still maneuver in this wind.
And in Sonoma County, north of San Francisco, the Point Fire erupting Sunday, destroying an unknown number of structures. Sonny Childers among those evacuating.
So I grabbed my sister's ashes, which were in the house, and we left.
And overnight, an injured firefighter rescued by a helicopter taken to the hospital. Firefighters urged to be extra vigilant with the fight far from over.
Kana Whitworth joins us now. Kana, we see those charred cars behind you. Give us a sense of the real concern now tonight.
Well, Lindsay, the concern is that this fire will continue to spread mainly because of the high winds that you're seeing. So it was because of that wind that this mechanic shop was essentially torched within just minutes. And you can tell that this wind isn't letting up at all. In fact, Lindsay, the red flag warnings have been extended in some areas through tomorrow morning. And Lindsay, what that means is that we potentially have a very dangerous night ahead of us here in California.
Wow, we just saw that huge gust of wind right there. All right, yeah. Kana Whitworth, our thanks to you. Our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z, is with us now. Ginger, walk us through all this extreme heat. And though it's just beginning, we already want to know when there might be some relief in sight.
Yes, well, you're going to have to hold on because it's going to take about a week or so for a lot of people. It's that heat dome that's really in place. It gave Chicago their record high of 97 today, and it's all about how long it lasts and how much or how little relief there will be overnight. So, Lindsay, I want your eye to go to Cedar Rapids, over to Hartford, Connecticut, and then focus on Fort Wayne and Detroit. That's where the excessive heat warnings are because that is more imminent. The excessive heat watches mean we got a couple of days before the worst of it gets here. That's Philadelphia up to Concord, New Hampshire, and Maine. So, why we're talking about advisories and warnings? Come on, it's summer, people are saying. Well, we're talking about the potential for all-time record heat in interior New England, meaning never in July, August, any time in summer since records began have we ever seen it this hot. Pittsburgh could see their hottest 5-day stretch on record. So the numbers don't lie. We could easily see those records in any box you see in red there. Detroit, 95 and 96 respectively for Wednesday and Thursday. It's not just about the afternoons, though, because it's one thing if you're exhausting yourself and you're outdoors, you're exposed to the elements. It's another if you don't get relief overnight. So temperatures will be warm and there won't be a lot of relief. And so as we see here, the extreme, rare, and long-lasting duration, that risk is really high and focused on Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and then it slides and bleeds into interior New England, western New York. Also, we have to mention that we just got our first potential tropical cyclone, number 1. Could become Alberto. Even if it doesn't, the track takes it into Mexico, and there are tropical storm watches up from Port O'Connor down to the mouth of the Rio Grande, and then Houston is on alert for flooding. Lindsay.
All right, Ginger Z, I know this is more than a news flash. It's hot in June, and clearly we're going to be talking with you for the next few days as you continue to time all this out for us. Thank you so much, as always. Now to the urgent call for action today from the U.S. Surgeon General, saying social media should have a warning label like cigarettes in order to protect children from dangers online. He says social media use is contributing to a crisis of mental health. Here's Elizabeth Schulze with more.
Tonight, an urgent call from the nation's top doctor, the U.S. Surgeon General, pushing for social media apps to carry tobacco-style labels, warning of the risk to teens and their mental health.
This is the defining public health challenge of our time. Social media has emerged as an important contributor to that youth mental health crisis.
In a New York Times op-ed today, Dr. Vivek Murthy saying teens who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media double the risk of anxiety and depression symptoms. The average time spent for that age group is nearly 5 hours. Murthy says warnings on social media would limit screen time, pointing to how tobacco labels helped cut smokers in the U.S. from 42% to 12% over 50 years.
We've seen in tobacco labels that they're effective in increasing awareness, but also in changing behavior.
In this stunning moment before senators back in January, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg apologized directly to families whose children have been harmed by social media.
I'm sorry for everything that you've all been through. It's horrible knowing that you go through the things that your families have suffered.
Such widespread heartbreak related to social media. Elizabeth Schulze joins us now. Elizabeth, is there any chance that we could see these warning labels anytime soon?
Well, Lindsay, these new social media warning labels would need to be approved by Congress, and lawmakers have yet to pass any legislation that would force big tech companies to make their platforms safer for kids and teens online. Lindsay.
Elizabeth Schulze for us. Thanks so much. We'll be speaking with parents of young users for their first reaction to the new push for labels coming up later in the program. Now to the race for the White House with the first presidential debate a little more than a week away. So how are both men preparing and what will happen to their microphones while the other candidate is talking? Here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
With the first presidential debate a little more than a week away, the Biden campaign tonight is putting Donald Trump's criminal conviction front and center.
This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for himself and a president who's fighting for your family.
The president's campaign running that new ad in every key battleground state. On the trail, Trump is using his criminal trial to rally his own base.
All of their persecution of me and others is only happening because I'm running for president and leading very big in the polls.
Trump speaking at an event hosted by far-right activist Charlie Kirk, who's been criticized for his anti-immigrant and racist comments. He recently argued Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy was a myth. Earlier in the day, Trump appeared at a black church in Detroit, trying to court voters where polls show he's making inroads.
Joe Biden has done nothing for you except talk. It's only talk.
Trump often boasts that during his administration, unemployment among Black Americans hit a record low, 5.3%. What he doesn't mention, it dropped even lower under Biden to 4.8% last August. At a fundraiser with Biden in California, former President Barack Obama urging voters not to be fooled by Trump.
Part of what has happened over the last several years is we've normalized behavior that used to be disqualifying.
Mary Bruce joins us now from the White House. And Mary, with that first presidential debate just 10 days from now, what are we learning about how each candidate is preparing for the debate?
Well, Lindsay, the president is planning to head to Camp David later this week to hunker down for formal debate prep. His former chief of staff, Ron Klain, will be leading those sessions, while Trump, on the other hand, as of now, has no plans to do any formal debate prep. Instead, we are told that he's bouncing ideas off of friends and advisors, and we are now learning a little bit more about the rules for this debate. We now know that the candidates' mics will, in fact, only be turned on when the candidate is speaking. Lindsay.
Very interesting, and two very different approaches from both campaigns. Mary Bruce from the White House, thanks so much. It was election denialism in the fight for November over the weekend as the Turning Point USA conservative confab kicked off in Detroit with a who's who of top Republicans taking to the podium. While Election Day is still 140 days away, it's the suggestion the vote is already, quote, rigged and something to be guarded that was front and center as former President Donald Trump and his allies pushed the idea to those gathered.
We need to watch the vote. We need to guard the vote. We need to stop the steal.
You realize if they win, if they steal this election because they can't win the election, right? No chance they can win it. If they steal this election and they fully intend to steal it, this republic ends.
If you cheat in an election, we will find you, we will track you down, and we will prosecute you to the full extent of it.
We should note there is no evidence regarding any sort of plot to rig the upcoming 2024 election. We turn now to the major headline from Israel tonight. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu disbanding his war cabinet after two key members resigned. Tom Sufi Burge reports in from Israel tonight.
Tonight, tensions boiling over on the streets of Jerusalem, just hours after Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu dissolved his war cabinet after two key members resigned.
Well, you can see the protesters really trying to face down the police here. They're throwing water cannon, trying to disperse the crowd. But so far, the protesters staying close to Netanyahu's residence.
The political and public outcry coming as the IDF says it's beginning a daily tactical pause, halting operations along a key highway in Gaza. So truckloads of goods stacked up can be distributed by aid agencies safely within the strip. Today, the IDF saying it now has control of 60% of Rafah, and now putting a time frame on its fight against Hamas in that city.
We are weeks now from achieving this goal.
Tom joins us now from Jerusalem. Tom, any comment from the White House on Netanyahu's actions?
Well, Lindsay, the White House generally tonight sidestepping questions on Netanyahu dissolving his war cabinet, but saying it wasn't sure the Israeli Prime Minister was left with a whole lot of other choices. Lindsay?
All right, Tom from Jerusalem for us. Thanks so much. Russian President Vladimir Putin will take an official state visit to North Korea starting tomorrow. Putin will spend 2 days there before traveling to Vietnam. The diplomatic trip follows North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's visit to Russia in September 2023. The White House says they're not concerned about Putin's trip, but worried about deepening ties between Russia and North Korea. Now to an ABC News exclusive. Keith Papini is opening up about how his life ended up splashed across national headlines. His ex-wife staged her own kidnapping, and he says he believed it. ABC's Matt Gutman sat down with him.
He was the husband at the center of a kidnapping hoax that captivated the country. A California mother vanishing on a jog, sparking a massive search, only to reappear shackled on the side of a highway.
She made us all believe that her story was true. Every single day she committed to the lie.
Now, Keith Papini, after 7 years of silence, is revealing new details about how his wife, Sherry, faked her own disappearance and claimed she'd been kidnapped by two Hispanic women.
Are you chained up? Yes. Okay.
The hoax didn't just last the 22 days that she had disappeared. It lasted for years, 6 years.
And that's what people don't realize. It was every single day.
The new Hulu documentary series, Perfect Wife, retraces the years-long saga. We first met Keith right after his wife Sherry was found bruised, her skin branded.
She literally lived through hell.
But now he says even then there was doubt.
When you first encountered her in the hospital, what was your first instinct?
When I pulled back the curtain and I saw her and I saw the look in her eyes, I felt in that moment that she was lying. And it wasn't until when I really got close and I could just see the amount of injuries, bruises, burns to her body, and it was a shock to me. And I remember thinking how horrible of me to even think that she could have done this to herself.
DNA later led investigators to Sherry's former boyfriend, James Reyes. Reyes passed a polygraph and was never charged, but police say he helped carry out Sherry's plan.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Sherry was convicted of lying to a federal officer and served 10 months in prison. Keith and Sherry are now divorced.
She apologized in court, but has Sherry ever apologized to you or the children?
No, never. She has no remorse that I have ever witnessed or seen.
Our thanks to Matt Gutman for that. You can find out more about this case by watching Perfect Wife, The Mysterious Disappearance of Sherry Papini, streaming on Hulu starting Thursday. Maryland Governor Wes Moore ordered more than 175,000 pardons for marijuana convictions. Moore says this is the most sweeping state-level pardon in any state and will help reverse harms from the past caused by the war on drugs. This will not result in anyone being released from incarceration. Maryland decriminalized possession of personal use amounts of cannabis on January 1st of 2023. Now, 24 states and the District of Columbia have legalized recreational cannabis. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. A former white nationalist comes out as anti-racist and transgender, the experience that changed their entire worldview. But next, once praised for its resistance, Kharkiv has become another key target for Russia. In tonight's Prime Focus, we speak to residents there who know the dangers but refuse to leave their beloved city behind.
Тут живут люди, которые очень сильные духом. Харьковчане, они, знаете, бесстрашны.
So, yeah, people just have a normal life, knowing that every day somewhere bomb will hit and maybe kill them, maybe not. So this is life in Kharkiv.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello? Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years. I turned everything down. How come you're talking to me? Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple of things. I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said,
the movie!
Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah. Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
As opposed to like
the brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Crush on you back in the day?
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
ABC's David Muir,
the most watched newscast in America.
Are you ready to celebrate? Sunday, June 30th, across the country. See, experience some of the nation's greatest pride celebrations all in one place as they happen live right here on ABC News Live. Pride across America. Celebrate joy, love, freedom, and pride. Sunday, June 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Streaming on ABC News Live and stream on Hulu.
Welcome back, everyone. It's been viewed as an example of Ukrainian strength and resilience. But after pushing Russia back 2 years ago, Kharkiv has been bombarded with new attacks. It's made life there difficult. But many who live in the city are refusing to leave, instead risking their lives to help the others still there. Using a combination of video diaries and interviews with residents, ABC's Patrick Reevell takes us inside Kharkiv.
Это який, пятый?
7.
Что-то очень стрёмно сегодня. И вчера было тоже стрёмно.
It can be hard to sleep in Kharkiv. Ukraine's second city is under constant bombardment. Just 20 miles from the border with Russia, Kharkiv became known around the world for its astonishing resistance. 2 years ago, Ukraine drove Russian forces back from Kharkiv, allowing people to hope the city was saved. But now, things have changed. Russia is bombing the city almost daily, and last month launched a new offensive towards it. Unable to seize it, many in Ukraine fear Vladimir Putin has decided to make Kharkiv, once home to 1.5 million people, unlivable.
They're trying to get as much close as they can so the artillery can hit Kharkiv and just push away civilians, trying to make them exhausted mentally and physically, and, you know, like, make Kharkiv empty and more empty every day. That's what they're afraid of.
But despite the continuous attacks, its people try to keep ordinary life going.
Тут живут люди, которые очень сильные духом. Харьковчане, они, знаете, бесстрашные.
So, yeah, people just have a normal life, knowing that every day somewhere bomb will hit and maybe kill them, maybe not. So this is life in Kharkiv. Hello, my name is Roman Kachanov. I am fire chief from 11th Fire Station from Kharkiv City.
For more than 2 years, Roman and his team have been responding to Russian strikes, tackling blazes, pulling survivors from the rubble, an unending battle, and one that in the past 2 months has hugely intensified.
It's like first days of the war, like very intense, and probably right now I'm seeing as much dead, injured, and burned people as was first month of war.
ABC first met Roman in August 2022.
We need to extinguish it. Let's go one floor more. If you know there is nobody inside, there is no emotion. So you know you need to go there, do your job.
I remember my colleague Ian met you 2 years ago now, really. How do you feel compared to how you felt back then? How do you feel now?
Comparing to how it was and how it right now, it's like probably I feel like every firefighter feel in whole world, but only because we're used to all these conditions. Of course, it's bad. It's I have kind of depression or apathy. I don't know, because I don't see my family. You know, you're losing point of your life. You're losing goal of your life because the family is the most important stuff in your life.
Roman sent his wife and daughter abroad after the full-scale invasion. They are still there.
A lot of us separated from their families, a lot of divorces, a lot of everything. So that's hard, emotionally hard. So not emotionally hard because of war, because of dead, injured people, even used to this one. Yeah, sometimes you have some kind of stuff in your head. Maybe you need to, I don't know, speak with the guys, with a beer, maybe cry a bit, I don't know, just to... You can share it only with the person who's been through the same.
Since 2022, 7 firemen have been killed in Kharkiv and nearly 50 wounded, according to local authorities.
Roman himself suffered a concussion last month from an explosion while tackling a fire caused by a Russian strike. The Russians frequently hit sites a second time once first responders arrive, the so-called double tap.
1 year ago, I got 140 calls because of the shellings, and 33 times I've been at the calls during the secondary shellings. Yeah, but I was very lucky. I mean, no scratch.
Вибух. Добрий ранок. 30 травня. 7:50. Знову важка ніч. 5 ракетних ударів. Але ми рухаємось вперед.
Konstantin is a youth soccer trainer.
Зараз ви бачите, ми розпочали тренування, але одразу сигнал повітряної тривоги. І одразу вибух. Все залишилось на місцях, і діти пішли в безпечне місце. Отак ми тренуємося.
This is what Konstantin worries about. Adapting to the constant attacks often means having to move life underground. Last month, Kharkiv opened its first purpose-built underground school, 16 feet below ground. For the kids here, it means they can attend in-person classes for the first time in more than 2 years.
We started in distance learning for 2 years, and now our children can just sit at the desk. They can speak to each other. You can see that they are smiling. They are very happy to be here, and they feel safety here.
For the first time, it was like strange because it's new for us. But I understand that it's cool to be here, and we understand that it's safe.
А з війною ми волонтери. Привіт, мене звати Марія Зайцева, я із Харкова. Я керівниця благодійної організації благодійний фонд «Незламний Харків».
Since the invasion, Maria works with other volunteers, distributing humanitarian aid and helping evacuate people from combat areas. Last month, Maria decided to evacuate her own children to Germany.
Привіт! Привіт! Скажи, мама! Скажи, мама, привіт! Мирон! І це літо я вирішила, що моїм дітям безпечніше буде на канікулах у моїх батьків, тому що в Харків знищують влучання по цивільних об'єктах, по торгівельних центрах, по жилих кварталах. Це дуже небезпечно, але я повинна працювати тут та допомагати надалі. Говори. Пока, сегодня в Харькове не стреляют, все хорошо. Пока, целуй. Мирон, пока, целую.
In June, the Biden administration finally allowed Ukraine to begin using American weapons to strike back over the border inside Russia. That has pushed Russian missile launches further away, and so the bombing on Kharkiv has eased.
Останній тиждень в Харкові тихіше. Набагато тихіше з того моменту, як наші міжнародні партнери дозволили нам бити по Росії, і ми бачимо результати, що в Харкові краще, але було б ще краще, якщо б ще ми могли збивати російські літаки. Тому
I think me and a lot of other Ukrainians who are still here, who are still in Kharkiv, if we will be thinking negative, it will make our condition even worse. I'm trying to stay positive. Like, you know, we have idiom in Kharkiv and in Ukraine, like, you are on the front line or you are helping front line. You have no other choice.
Clinging to optimism and hope. Our thanks to Patrick Reevell for that. Still much more to get to here on Prime tonight. Coming up, artificial intelligence can already do so many things, from writing essays to recreating songs in the voice of your favorite performers. The unexpected areas of life it could soon impact. But next, it's a tradition many children and parents look forward to every year, talking about summer camp. We look at just how much people are spending by the numbers.
Good morning, America.
America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money! Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here this morning.
It's always a good time. That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good.
Very good.
Coming in hot. Jimmy coming in hot.
It's far from elementary. Oh. Good morning, America. I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
George doesn't dance. Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in. I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy. I'm in. I'm in too.
I'm in.
That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Tag on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer. It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
I experienced a lot of rejection, a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. You're gonna feel lonely. There was a lot of personal stuff in my life that was really falling apart. But Mom and Daddy didn't raise no quitter.
Not everybody makes it.
It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment.
The CMA Award for Album of the Year for Female Vocalist of the Year
Entertainer of the Year
goes to Lainey
Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby.
What she is doing right now is changing country music.
I'm proud of myself. I really am. I have worked my ass off. Now it's time to see what's next. I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Here's to Good Mornings in America.
Can you feel the love? Oh, yeah.
Mornings that inspire, filled with hope, kindness, joyous surprises, and so much fun.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Start your day with Good Morning America's Ray of Sunshine, highlighting the best of America and helping
make dreams come true. Wow. I'm just so happy. It's so good.
Get ready to smile and put the good into your morning, America, because
you know what will make the morning better? A little ray of sunshine.
Reporting from the Normandy coast for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. School is out for summer, and while we love our children, we also may not want them to be in the house all summer long. Backyard sprinklers and stickball in the street with friends may be good enough, but the big business of summer camps has made a comeback since the pandemic, and it is tonight by the numbers. A little less than half of all school-age kids are signed up for either day camp or sleepaway. That's according to the American Camp Association. And if you're a parent or guardian, then you know the price difference between the two is steep. Sleepaway camps on average are 2.5 times more expensive than day camps as of 2022. The pandemic nearly tanked the entire business model after only 20% of camps opened during the summer of 2020 and just 67% the year after. But now there are more than 20,000 camps operating in the U.S., and it's a whopping $70 billion business in total. Think of all the food suppliers necessary to feed those hungry mouths and what it takes to keep a pool safe and clean. Translate that revenue into jobs, and 1 million workers are needed to keep those 20,000 camps open. 1 million workers, good summer jobs for those older children, not to mention some extra income come for teachers who have the summer off. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. As the Surgeon General raises the alarm on social media dangers, we speak to the father of a 12-year-old boy who says a viral trend led to the death of his son, the action he wants to see taken, and how a person went from a white nationalist upbringing to becoming a transgender anti-racist.
There is a price to be paid every time a survivor shares their story.
I think it's so hard to live every day feeling like, like I must be broken.
I had just turned 14. And it was scary. It was scary. I will not be silenced.
This church has been alive for decades, and the next thing you know,
all hell breaks loose.
What is the 2x2 church?
It is a secret sect. It flies under the radar. If you don't agree with them, your salvation is at stake.
A stunning amount of information has come out about the misdeeds of some of the ministers. These same people preaching this message were the ones hiding horrific, horrific things.
Do you feel the church accepted abuse?
I wouldn't say accepted it as so much pretended it didn't exist.
Yep, that's him.
Yep.
Ready?
Kira Phillips with ABC News. Did you sexually abuse Sherry Autry when she was 14 and you were 28?
No comment.
Do you believe your church protected you? Does your church protect sexual predators?
The powerful new Impact by Nightline.
So the church saw itself as judge and jury.
There's nothing pretty about hearing this.
Secrets of the 2x2 Church. Now streaming only on Hulu.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
How do you feel?
Gay as hell.
I see you. I love it here.
Is this real?
100%.
I think you still look at me that way.
Were you mad at me?
I want pageantry that takes months and months to plan.
My girls have a fun!
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television. Now streaming on Hulu.
I'm a rock and roll star. I'm not a saint. I'm John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi, the new special, what you have not yet seen. John Bon Jovi with Michael Strahan. Now streaming on Hulu.
And we told you about the Surgeon General urgent call earlier tonight for warning labels on social media platforms like those for tobacco and alcohol. It's a similar call parents across the country have been making for years. Parents like Todd and Mia Minor, whose son died after doing a viral social media challenge. In their grief, the Minors turned to activism, something they shared with our Elizabeth Schulze in an ABC News Live special report, Generation Swipe. Take a look.
I get the biggest dimples. He always smiled. This is another gift he made for me for Mother's Day, and this one too.
I'm wondering if you can share with me a little bit about the day that Matthew died.
Well, it just seemed like almost like a perfect day up to, you know, Mia cooked food and everything. He asked if he could go upstairs and watch TV or get on the internet. And we said, okay, you got 1 hour.
It was that 1 hour in 2019 that would change Mia and Todd Minor's lives forever, when their 12-year-old son Matthew was found unresponsive by his brother.
He yelled down, come upstairs quick. We looked, we saw Matthew had something around his neck. We didn't know what was going on with that, but we got that from around his neck. The emergency people came, they got Matthew, but probably at 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m., that's when they came in and told us that Matthew had passed. Then we talked with the detectives. He looked at Matthew's devices. He told us that there were these online challenges going around.
Kids were calling it the chokeout challenge, a dangerous viral trend where people on social media would intentionally try to choke themselves to enter a brief state of euphoria. The minors say detectives searched Matthew's scrolling history, but couldn't determine which app led him to the challenge.
When you looked at videos of this challenge, what was it like thinking of your son doing that?
It was very cartoonish, fun, and playful. And so from a kid's standpoint, it just, why not? They have their electronics in their pocket. They're getting hit with social media on a regular. Try it, you must try it, you must try it.
Mia and Todd launched the Matthew E. Minor Awareness Foundation to highlight the risks of viral challenges on apps like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
You know, because Matthew can't speak for himself. The kids that have reported things and the big tech companies haven't done anything about it.
The parents have now made it their life's mission to share Matthew's story, from churches to classrooms to Capitol Hill.
This meeting of the Senate Judiciary Committee will come to order.
In January, they sat just rows behind the CEOs of 5 of the biggest tech companies during a Senate hearing about child safety online.
But you have blood on your hands.
Well, they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
I just was happy to see him say something. Yeah. It didn't matter how we got there.
Joining us now is Todd Minor. Mr. Minor, thank you so much for joining us. So the Surgeon General has sounded a similar alarm just last year. Tell us, do you think that the call by the Surgeon General will lead to change at this point?
I really do. Usually when the Surgeon General talks as far as that there's a health crisis or there's an issue that Congress needs to pay attention to, the American public and Congress usually listens. So I really applaud the article.
Do you think that a warning label is enough?
I think a warning label is really strong. I mean, I did read the article by the Surgeon General, and in the past, at least as far as tobacco, it has brought down the use of tobacco over the years. But I think coupled that with parents and then also passing legislation that would work to keep kids safe, I think all 3 of those would be very effective.
And we know that you and your wife helped spearhead the Maryland Kids Code. Talk to us about what that is.
Well, the Maryland Kids Code is age-appropriate. It's based on the age-appropriate design code, which is also passed in Europe or in the UK. I'm sorry, but I think it also puts in protections automatically in place to keep kids' privacy protected, and also puts on just the highest level of protection to kids that are 16 and under.
You were both there when social media CEOs testified on Capitol Hill. Have you seen any change since that day?
Well, I feel there's been a great wave through America. I think the American people, every time we've talked with individuals, just through our travels and through our public speaking, everybody has asked, why hasn't this passed? And then even recently meeting with senators and congressmen, it seems from us when we were meeting with them that they actually want to get this done.
I can't help but notice that picture of your son right over your shoulder. Give us a sense of, if there were a warning label that you think would have made a difference in your own son's life, what might that have looked like?
Well, yeah, I think at least for me as a parent, I would have seen that, like even with the video games, when you take your kids to go to GameStop or go see movies and those labels are on there, at least you kind of think about whether your child is old enough to view that content. And I think if I had had something like that in place, it would have at least helped us have it would have increased awareness. I think even the Surgeon General had mentioned, as far as increasing awareness, the more awareness parents have, I think that would have helped us be more aware in Matthew's case.
What is your message? What's your message to other parents at this point?
The message to other parents is that we need online child safety legislation. Also, the warning labels are going to be really big, but then also we need parents and we need everyone in society that cares about children to let our elected officials know that online child safety is at the utmost. It's the top thing for us because our children are our next generation. If we don't protect them, our society will not be able to continue.
And what would you like lawmakers to do? If there's something that they could enact tomorrow, what would that be?
I would like for them to pass the Kids Online Safety Act immediately, because that would put protections in place automatically. It actually would put the protections on automatically for kids 16 and under. And it would also has some privacy protection, so that way they aren't contacted by individuals that they don't know.
No doubt parents are certainly listening to what you have to say. Todd Miner, we thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And you can see more of Todd's story and hear from lawmakers, experts, whistleblowers, and, of course, the young people who would be most affected by new rules and regulations in our special Generation Swipe, streaming right now on Hulu and airing on ABC News Live at 8:30 tonight. How did Derek Black go from being a prominent white nationalist and son of a former KKK Grand Wizard to then fighting racism? ABC's DeMarco Morgan has a story behind Black's many remarkable transformations.
So let's get right to it, starting with the title. The Klansman's Son, My Journey from White Nationalism to Anti-Racism.
It's a title that I struggled with at first because it felt sort of shameful, and it was something that I've been running away from for a lot of my life.
Derek Black grew up as the son of a former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, Don Black, and says they were once viewed as the heir to the white nationalist movement. That's until Derek had a change of heart.
What was the turning point? I mean, can you be the son of a former Grand Wizard, the godson of David Duke, and the next day you're anti-racist?
Yeah, it wasn't one day. It was years to get to leaving their belief system.
And it's one thing to call home and say, Dad, I don't agree with your beliefs anymore. But to tell him that you're transgender now, how did he take that?
That is a one that I think are still working through. It's one also that I have gotten some of the most cruel messages from my family about.
In response to Derek's comments, Don Black told ABC News that Derek was never forced to do anything and finds their coming out as transgender to be over the top, but, quote, hopes one day Derek comes back to them. It would be at New College of Florida where Derek would find family in a diverse community of friends. In the group, Derek would also meet the love of their life, wife Allison.
She was the person who really changed things. I showed up at college and I was there for a semester before people knew my background. And when they did find out, I realized that these relationships had become so deep and so intense, and these people had every right to feel betrayed. That just made me really look at oh, who am I?
The journey takes us back to when Derek first hit the public scene as a young rising white nationalist.
Do you have your iPad?
What is it? Oh my gosh.
I'm sending a message to be proud of your history and your ancestry, just to be proud of all the things that your ancestors have done.
That is 10-year-old Derek appearing on the Jenny Jones Show in 1999, along with their father, to discuss their white nationalist website.
Derek on videotape. I've designed the website for white children.
So when you see that, what do you remember about that day? What do you remember about that little boy?
I remember that viscerally, and that was why I wasn't able to watch that for a long time. I knew it was the moment that felt like it defined everything I had to be.
Why did you want to write the book, and why now?
The reason I was ready to write it was because I wanted to share what I knew, that this wasn't just a story of a few random people who made weird choices. They grew up in the civil rights movement, and they joined the other side.
Change has come to America.
You also write on page 87, that November, a few days after Obama won his first presidential election, David called me the heir at his 2008 conference in Memphis. Have you spoken with David?
No, not in years. He was a really close family friend. It was a complicated relationship, though, and was really based in politics, and we really have not maintained that relationship.
Following the release of Derek's memoir, former state representative David Duke stated he believes in equal rights and refuted ever calling Derek an heir.
And on page 272, you wrote, "In Charlottesville, led by people I knew, with anti-racist friends in the crowd opposing them, I felt horrified and implicated."
It was just this feeling of I do not know what the future holds. Watching also the president at the time argue that they were very good people on both sides, and I think January 6th had a lot of echoes of Charlottesville and a lot of the same people at both of them.
You feel like that movement has picked up speed, especially after the January 6th insurrection?
Yeah, more so than I've ever seen, not because they have millions of people. They recognize that power and the support they have.
As readers dive into the book, Derek wants them to remember one thing: change is possible.
People can 100% change very fundamental things about their beliefs, their world, who they see themselves as. Everything really is just about your relationships with people and making sure that you're not so loyal to somebody that you're willing to hurt anyone else.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We thank DeMarco for that conversation. Switching gears now, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a mysterious monolith. Take a look at this shiny vertical metal slab that appeared over the weekend on a hiking trail outside of Las Vegas. Las Vegas police posted these photos of the rocky desert reflecting off of it. Similar monoliths appeared in several states and European countries during the pandemic in 2020. Their origins remain a mystery. From doing your homework to writing the latest song to the looming threat of it taking your job, artificial intelligence has become almost unavoidable. Yet, according to our next guest, we're only beginning to recognize its impact and involvement in our daily lives. In her new book, Codependent, Living in the Shadow of AI, Madhumita Murgia is looking from the human level at how these automated systems are reshaping our lives. Madhumita, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you take a look at the unexpected ways that AI might impact our lives. Give us an example of some things that we might not be thinking about just yet.
Yeah, so there's all these really invisible and insidious ways in which AI is already part of our daily lives. You know, we might think of it as the social media recommendations that we get, or, you know, what Netflix suggests that we watch. But AI is often behind things like whether you get a loan for your car or your mortgage, for example. It's used in criminal justice to decide whether someone might get bail or not, whether they should be awarded or denied bail. It's used in healthcare systems to help to diagnose certain illnesses, including cancers.
And you take your reporting outside of Silicon Valley and look at the way algorithms are trained or created and the people behind them. What did you find?
So, you know, it's almost impossible to avoid Silicon Valley when you're talking about AI, right? But I knew that these systems had infiltrated and sort of rippled out far beyond, you know, California, beyond the US even. I mean, I found, you know, there are laborers, factory workers that are helping to label algorithms to help them see. So, for example, your Tesla that has sort of self-driving aspects to it. In order for those AI systems to know what they're looking at, you have human beings that are labeling that. So saying that's a pedestrian, that's a traffic light, that's a road. They don't just automatically know things, they're not magic. So you actually have factories of laborers being paid minimum wage in the developing world, in the global south, who are telling the AI systems what they need to know. So that was one of the sort of hidden workforces that I met with and learned about.
A lot of the book focuses really on the downsides of artificial intelligence, but you did find some positive developments, in particular with regard to healthcare. Explain that.
Yeah, so for me, I think that's the most hopeful and kind of optimistic view that I have of AI, is how it's going to change science and health, really. With healthcare in particular, I look at how it can help in diagnosing diseases where there are not enough doctors or medical professionals, you know, where there's huge lack of access. It might be in parts of the US or in rural parts of India, you know, where people can't see a doctor, but you can have these apps that literally look at pictures of their, you know, X-rays or CT scans and tell you whether they might have breast cancer, you know, or whether they might have tuberculosis, COVID, all of these diseases. as well as a human doctor.
It could be transformative, to use your word. And in all that you've learned in your research, is there anything that kind of keeps you up at night?
So for me, it's about preserving the dignity of human beings, right? You know, it's great to have technology to augment and help us to do the things we don't want to do. You know, there was this meme going around saying, I want AI to do my laundry and my dishes so that I can do art, right, and writing. I don't want it to do my art and my writing and then leave me to do the laundry and the dishes. And so that's what I hope doesn't happen, that we sort of allow these automated systems to take over the things that make us human, that we love to do, and leave us as the sort of second-class citizens in this transformation.
When we look at this, you know, fast forward, I want to say way into the future, but really we already know that the impacts are happening now and in the coming years. But, you know, you think about some of the Hollywood renditions of this, and it's like robots end up ruling the world. Is that where you feel like all this leads?
I don't think this is about Terminator robots somehow trampling out humanity in that very obvious way. I think it's a lot more insidious. And I think the fixes are human too. It's not about a technology running wild. It's about how can we create the controls and draw the lines for ourselves.
It's such a fascinating conversation to have. We so appreciate you, Madhumita, so for bringing us some of your insight and what you've gleaned. Really appreciate it. Want to let our viewers know you can get Code Dependent, Living in the Shadow of AI, out tomorrow wherever books are sold. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, a plane makes an emergency landing with flames shooting from one of its engines. What happened next? And a deadly train crash in India. The new details on the collision and the aftermath.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news. Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, start here.
I'm Anthony Mackie. Like most fishermen, sharks used to terrify me. If the shark gets too close, I should hit it in the nose.
Well, you don't need to hit it.
I'm on a quest to find out why these apex predators, that's amazing, are swiping fishermen's hard-earned catches. What? You saw that?
Shark Beach with Anthony Mackie.
Woo! That's our fish. Look at that.
Part of the sharkiest 4-week celebration this summer. Shark Fest starts June 30th at 9 on National Geographic. When it matters most, America turns to David Muir and ABC's World News Tonight.
What's good to watch, read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
I love that so much.
GMA Life, streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh. heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin with that cross-country heat wave, the likes of which have not been seen in decades. Tonight, 270 million Americans are set to deal with temperatures above 90 degrees. That's more than 80% of Americans. From the west to the Midwest to the Northeast, few areas will be spared. The Great Lakes region, including Chicago, saw temperatures near 100 degrees today. New England communities could set all-time heat records this week. The heat, combined with fierce winds, have fueled wildfires in the West. More than a dozen have erupted in the past 3 days. 1,200 people forced to evacuate, buildings and vehicles burning in just minutes. Our Ginger Z is standing by to time all that out. But first, our Kana Whitworth is on the fire lines tonight and leads us off from California.
Tonight, wind-driven wildfires scorching thousands of acres and forcing evacuations across California. Red flag warnings up for much of the state. North of Los Angeles, the Post fire burning more than 15,000 acres since Saturday. Conditions fueling its explosive spread.
Low relative humidity at 15%. The winds were kicking up 30-mile-an-hour gusts. And then we had one of the hottest weekends that we've had in a while. So all those in alignment with this terrain, that fire took off.
Some 1,200 people evacuated, 3 hikers rescued, including a child. Those on the front lines not catching a break.
Unfortunately, the firefight here is going to be a tough one. We're talking about 40-mile-per-hour sustained winds all the way through midnight.
The air attack on this fire is crucial, but because it's so windy, not all helicopters can be in the air right now. That's why something like this, a sky crane, is so important. It's using a snorkel to draw water out of the lake. But because it's a bigger, heavier aircraft, it can still maneuver in this wind.
And in Sonoma County, north of San Francisco, the Point fire erupting Sunday, destroying an unknown number of structures. Sonny Childers among those evacuating.
So I grabbed my sister's ashes, which were in the house, and we left.
And overnight, an injured firefighter rescued by a helicopter taken to the hospital. Firefighters urged to be extra vigilant with the fight far from over.
Kana Whitworth joins us now. Kana, we see those charred cars behind you. Give us a sense of the real concern now tonight.
Well, Lindsay, the concern is that this fire will continue to spread mainly because of the high winds that you're seeing. So it was because of that wind that this mechanic shop was essentially torched within just minutes. And you can tell that this wind isn't letting up at all. In fact, Lindsay, the red flag warnings have been extended in some areas through tomorrow morning. And Lindsay, what that means is that we potentially have a very dangerous night ahead of us here in California.
Wow, we just saw that huge gust of wind right there. All right, yeah. Kana Whitworth, our thanks to you. Our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z, is with us now. Ginger, walk us through all this extreme heat. And though it's just beginning, we already want to know when there might be some relief in sight.
Yes, well, you're going to have to hold on because it's going to take about a week or so for a lot of people. It's that heat dome that's really in place. It gave Chicago their record high of 97 today, and it's all about how long it lasts and how much or how little relief there will be overnight. So, Lindsay, I want your eye to go to Cedar Rapids, over to Hartford, Connecticut, and then focus on Fort Wayne and Detroit. That's where the excessive heat warnings are because that is more imminent. The excessive heat watches mean we got a couple of days before the worst of it gets here. That's Philadelphia up to Concord, New Hampshire, and Maine. So, why we're talking about advisories and warnings. Come on, it's summer, people are saying. Well, we're talking about the potential for all-time record heat in interior New England, meaning never in July, August, any time in summer since records began have we ever seen it this hot. Pittsburgh could see their hottest 5-day stretch on record. So the numbers don't lie. We could easily see those records in any box you see in red there. Detroit, 95 and 96 respectively for Wednesday and Thursday. It's not just about the afternoons, though, because it's one thing if you're exhausting yourself and you're outdoors, you're exposed to the elements. It's another if you don't get relief overnight. So temperatures will be warm and there won't be a lot of relief. And so as we see here, the extreme, rare, and long-lasting duration, that risk is really high and focused on Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and then it slides and bleeds into interior New England, western New York. Also, we have to mention that we just got our first potential tropical cyclone #1. Could become Alberto. Even if it doesn't, the track takes it into Mexico, and there are tropical storm watches up from Port O'Connor down to the mouth of the Rio Grande, and then Houston is on alert for flooding. Lindsay.
All right, Ginger Z, I know this is more than a news flash. It's hot in June, and clearly we're going to be talking with you for the next few days as you continue to time all this out for us. Thank you so much, as always. Now to the urgent call for action today from the U.S. Surgeon General, who said social media should have a warning label like cigarettes to protect children from dangers online. He says social media use is contributing to a crisis of mental health. Here's Elizabeth Schulze with more.
Tonight, an urgent call from the nation's top doctor, the U.S. Surgeon General, pushing for social media apps to carry tobacco-style labels, warning of the risk to teens and their mental health.
This is the defining public health challenge of our time. Social media has emerged as an important contributor to that youth mental health crisis.
In a New York Times op-ed today, Dr. Vivek Murthy saying teens who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media double the risk of anxiety and depression symptoms. The average time spent for that age group is nearly 5 hours. Murthy says warnings on social media would limit screen time, pointing to how tobacco labels helped cut smokers in the U.S. from 42% to 12% over 50 years.
We've seen in tobacco labels that they're effective in increasing awareness, but also in changing behavior.
In this stunning moment before senators back in January, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg apologized directly to families whose children have been harmed by social media.
I'm sorry for everything that you've all been through. It's terrible. No one should have to go through the things that your families have suffered.
Our thanks to Elizabeth Schulze for that. Next tonight, the water park nightmare, a mass shooting outside in Detroit, leaving 9 people wounded, including a mother and 2 of her children. Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas reports.
Tonight, an 8-year-old boy still in critical condition, but showing incredible resolve as he fights to recover from a shooting that sent families at a suburban Michigan water park running for their lives.
He's made amazing progress. That poor family went through things that no family should ever have to face.
The 8-year-old was shot in the head, his 4-year-old brother shot in the abdomen, and their mother shot in the torso and legs. Among the 9 wounded, as an otherwise beautiful Saturday afternoon at the Brooklands Plaza splash pad outside of Detroit turned into horror as a lone gunman opened fire. 36 shots ringing out as the suspect calmly targeted victims, even taking the time to reload.
It was a scramble. People were falling, getting hit, trying to run.
The gunman flees the scene, but leaves behind a 9mm handgun, which police traced to this home a short distance away. Inside, they find at least 11 other firearms, including this assault-style rifle. The suspect, identified as 42-year-old Michael Nash, dead of an apparent suicide. Tonight, still no motive other than concerns that Nash may have had mental health challenges.
What a horrific story. Our thanks to Pierre for that. Now to a mid-air scare. A Boeing 737 makes an emergency landing after flames were seen shooting from one of its engines. ABC's Gio Benitez has the story.
Tonight, a Virgin Australia flight forced to make an emergency landing. This nighttime video from inside the cabin showing flames coming out of one of the engines. The Boeing 737 had just taken off from Queenstown, New Zealand, and was headed for Melbourne, Australia, with 73 passengers and crew on board. But Queenstown Airport saying the flight experienced an issue just after takeoff and was diverted to a nearby airport.
What's happening?
Fine engine. Witnesses on the ground capturing video showing the fire. Virgin Australia saying the flight landed safely following a possible bird strike, and the aircraft was met by emergency services. And Lindsay, bird strikes are actually pretty common. In fact, the FAA says that last year there were more than 18,000 of them, but less than 4% caused damage to planes. Lindsay?
Gio, thank you. Now to the race for the White House with the first presidential debate a little more than a week away from now. So how are both men preparing, and what will happen to their microphones while the other candidate is talking? Here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
With the first presidential debate a little more than a week away, the Biden campaign tonight is putting Donald Trump's criminal conviction front and center.
This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for himself and a president who's fighting for your family.
The president's campaign running that new ad in every key battleground state. On the trail, Trump is using his criminal trial to rally his own base.
All of their personal
persecution of me and others is only happening because I'm running for president and leading very big in the polls.
Trump speaking at an event hosted by far-right activist Charlie Kirk, who's been criticized for his anti-immigrant and racist comments. He recently argued Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy was a myth. Earlier in the day, Trump appeared at a black church in Detroit, trying to court voters where polls show he's making inroads.
Joe Biden has done nothing for you except talk. It's only talk.
Trump often boasts that during his administration, unemployment among black Americans hit a record low, 5.3%. What he doesn't mention, it dropped even lower under Biden to 4.8% last August. At a fundraiser with Biden in California, former President Barack Obama urging voters not to be fooled by Trump.
Part of what has happened over the last several years is we've normalized behavior that used to be disqualifying.
Our thanks to Mary Bruce. Now to an ABC News exclusive. Keith Papini is opening up about how his life ended up splashed across national headlines. His ex-wife staged her own kidnapping, and he says he initially believed it. ABC's Matt Gutman sat down with him.
He was the husband at the center of a kidnapping hoax that captivated the country. A California mother vanishing on a jog, sparking a massive search, only to reappear shackled on the side of a highway.
She made us all believe that her story was true. Every single day she committed to the lie.
Now, Keith Papini, after 7 years of silence, is revealing new details about how his wife Sherry faked her own disappearance and claimed she'd been kidnapped by 2 Hispanic women.
Are you chained up? Yes. Okay.
The hoax didn't just last the 22 days that she had disappeared. It lasted for years, 6 years.
And that's what people don't realize. It was every single day.
The new Hulu documentary series Perfect Wife retraces the years-long saga. We first met Keith right after his wife Sherry was found bruised, her skin branded.
She literally lived through hell.
But now he says even then there was doubt. When you first encountered her in the hospital, what was your first instinct?
When I pulled back the curtain and I saw her and I saw the look in her eyes, I felt in that moment that she was lying. And it wasn't until when I really got close and I could just see the amount of injuries, bruises, burns to her body. And it was a shock to me. And I remember thinking how horrible of me to even think that she could have done this to herself.
DNA later led investigators to Sherry's former boyfriend, James Reyes. Reyes passed a polygraph and was never charged, but police say he helped carry out Sherry's plan.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Sherry was convicted of lying to a federal officer and served 10 months in prison. Keith and Sherry are now divorced. She apologized in court, but has Sherry ever apologized to you or the children?
No, never. She has no remorse that I have ever witnessed or seen.
Our thanks to Matt Gutman for that. You can find out more about this case by watching Perfect Wife, the mysterious disappearance of Sherry Papini, streaming on Hulu starting Thursday. As we age, collagen production decreases. It's a major focus of the anti-aging industrial complex, with collagen supplements now at more than $5 billion. But is it worth the hype? ABC's Becky Worley has more.
Go get the collagen. Go get the collagen.
There's no bigger buzz in beauty right now than collagen from social media influencers.
I feel like I'm experiencing a lot of volume to my hair.
To walls of the stuff at Costco. To America's sweetheart, Jennifer Aniston, who is the chief creative officer of one of the biggest collagen companies.
There's definitely a lot of money behind collagen.
Promises range from allegedly helping to support skin hydration and elasticity, making hair and nails grow faster, reducing joint pain, and a more youthful appearance. But what does the science say?
So if you were to ask me 10 or 15 years ago what the science is about collagen, I would tell you that it's unsure. However, now it's very different. There are a lot of studies that have shown that taking a hydrolyzed collagen supplement can improve the health and the appearance of your skin.
But with so many different kinds, type 1, type 2, hydrolyzed, bovine, marine, how do you even choose? Dermatologist Dr. Anthony Yoon says type 1 collagen is best for hair, skin, and nails, and you should get hydrolyzed.
The belief is that if you take a hydrolyzed collagen supplement, that collagen is going to be absorbed into your bloodstream through your gut.
What is this stuff made out of?
Usually collagen is bovine, meaning that it's cow-based, and ground to a very, very fine protein. And now there's also marine collagen, so it's basically fish-based.
So I purchased 2 bovine products and a marine collagen. Using each brand's recommended serving size, Vital Proteins came in most expensive at about $1.67 a serving. Then Anthony's collagen powder that costs about 62 cents a serving, and California Gold Marine collagen powder that costs about 40 cents a serving. All 3 products are intended to be dissolved into liquids, hot or cold. Kind of leaves an aftertaste, almost like soup, and it's a little gummy. There are also liquid options, many that come with other supplements and have a wide range of price points. This one, berry flavored with stevia for just 58 cents a serving. Ooh, that's too sweet. And this one that comes in at $3.16 per serving. But is liquid necessarily better than powder?
There doesn't appear to be any real difference between a liquid collagen supplement and a powder. Use whatever you feel that you can consistently take every day.
Helpful tips there. Thanks to Becky for that. So much more to get to. Coming up, General Hospital's John York gives an update on his health as he battles 2 different forms of cancer. But next, the race to clean up a major oil spill. What happened just moments before the substance spilled out of a ship?
All right, let the dogs out, please.
I don't think he's going to give you a hard time.
Even if he gives me a hard time, I'm the right guy. I want to make sure that we all learn together.
Calm, confident.
Calm, confident, calm, surrender.
Everything that he's taught has become a reality.
Yeah.
We are so grateful and impressed. I feel like crying. You changed our world.
It is a beautiful thing to see. As you rehabilitate the dog, you also rehabilitate you.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you? I hated the Brat Pack. What a disaster.
Why did we take it as an offense?
Andrew? I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything. Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium.
1985? I think we could have.
I'm Anthony Mackie. Like most fishermen, sharks used to terrify me. If the shark gets too close, I should hit it in the nose.
Well, you don't need to hit it.
I'm on a quest to find out why these apex predators, that's amazing, are swiping fishermen's hard-earned catches. What? You saw that?
Shark Beach with Anthony Mackie.
Woo! That's our fish. Look at that.
Part of the sharkiest 4-week celebration this summer. Shark Fest starts June 30th at 9 on National Geographic.
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single. I want to enjoy the company of a member of women.
He tortured me.
How did she survive 9 days of terror?
The word accomplice came up.
Nobody knows the real story.
The Beauty Queen Killer. Only on Hulu.
Reporting from near the Israel-Lebanon border as tensions here ramp up. I'm Tom Sufi Burridge. You're streaming ABC News live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Russian President Vladimir Putin will take an official state visit to North Korea starting tomorrow. Putin will spend 2 days there before traveling to Vietnam. The diplomatic trip follows North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's visit to Russia in September 2023. The White House says it's not concerned about Putin's trip, but is keeping a close eye on deepening ties between Russia and North Korea. At least 9 people are dead and dozens more injured after a cargo train rammed into a passenger train in India's eastern state of West Bengal today. One train ran into the end of the other, resulting in nearly an entire car suspended in the air. The cause is under investigation. More than 12 million people ride 14,000 trains across India every single day. In Singapore, the government is racing to clean up a major oil spill that has begun to wash up on beaches along the city-state's southern coast. A ship that lost power over the weekend rammed into a different vessel and punctured its oil tank. Tourists enjoying the weekend at a popular resort island reported the water to be dark and oily. Beaches across the country are now closed until further notice. Now to longtime General Hospital star John York's return to the show after battling 2 forms of cancer. The actor, perhaps better known as his character Mac Scorpio, is speaking out about his tough treatment and luck in finding a bone marrow donor. John York sat down with our Zareen Shah.
General Hospital star John York back on set as Mac Scorpio after battling 2 different cancers.
Everybody has been very welcoming, very supportive. And here I go already, right off the top, because I can't tell you how nice it's been, the support that I've gotten.
Late last year, John was diagnosed with myelodysplastic syndrome and smoldering multiple myeloma, cancers impacting both the blood and bone marrow.
And I said, how long would I have if I did nothing? And he said 3 to 5 years. And I was like, 3 to 5 years? Are you crazy? I feel fantastic.
The 65-year-old deciding to go with the most aggressive form of treatment, finding a bone marrow donor and undergoing chemotherapy, helping him get back to work quickly.
7 days of chemo in Tennessee, and then I was available to work, for usually 3 weeks in California.
You're working this whole time?
Yeah. My philosophy was always 1 day at a time. Let's just get through today.
John's family supportive the whole time, his son-in-law and grandson shaving their heads in solidarity.
I wanted to give you a little update as to how things are going along.
Months later, John bringing his fans into his cancer journey.
I made the announcement, and it has helped. And so many people have, joined the registry just to help save someone's life.
One of them helped save his. After months of looking for a donor, he got the call from NMDP, formerly known as the National Marrow Donor Program, and Be the Match.
She said, we found an exact match. And I just couldn't talk. It's just a bag of, blood and fluid, and they put it in my body 40 minutes later, and now I'm this person. And my cells are now fighting each other and battling each other and getting to know each other. And here we are, back to work. What's a grandfather's purpose, if not to spoil his grandchildren? Right?
Back on set with these Mac is Back shirts and a cast and crew that he loves. What's the part you missed the most while you were gone?
I just felt so attached that I didn't feel like I missed anything. I feel like I just had a little break, a little vacation, I guess, and had to go through something. And now we're here on kind of the other side of it.
So glad to see Mac is back. Our thanks to Zoreen for that conversation. Still to come, what did Abraham Lincoln have in his pockets the night he died? And how did one of the best songwriters of our time create a classic musical? The interactive new exhibit that's answering those questions and more.
I experienced a lot of rejection, a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. You're gonna feel lonely. There was a lot of personal stuff in my life that was really falling apart. But Mom and Daddy didn't raise no quitter.
Not everybody makes it.
It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment.
The CMA Award for Album of the Year for Female Vocalist of the Year.
Entertainer of the Year
Goes to Lainey
Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby! What she is doing right now is changing country music.
I'm proud of myself. I really am. I have worked my ass off. Now it's time to see what's next. I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning. Are you ready? They are ready.
Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
It's always a good time. That's what the show's about.
That's good. Really good. Very good.
Coming in hot, Jimmy, coming in hot.
And it's far from elementary.
Oh.
Good morning, America. I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'm in.
That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
Welcome back. The Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. is the largest library in the world and has just begun a campaign to try to attract more visitors. A brand new exhibit showcasing some of America's greatest treasures just might do the trick. Our Danny New has the details.
With almost 180 million items across different formats, naturally the Library of Congress must have some pretty wild stuff, right?
For the first time, the Library of Congress, the world's largest library, will have a permanent treasures gallery.
Yes, with its new Collecting Memories exhibit, you can now see history for yourself. Like, for example, what was in President Abraham Lincoln's pockets the night he was assassinated. Dr. Carla Hayden, known as the Librarian of Congress, actually helped carefully install those items.
A deer, a female deer, Ray, a drop of golden sun.
Also included in this collection, spanning more than 4,000 years, is Oscar Hammerstein's lyric sheet as he fleshed out Do-Re-Mi for The Sound of Music. But one artifact that is quite profound is the Blackwell's Kinfolk Family Tree. It's a piece of folk art that details the genealogical history of one African-American family from Virginia and features 1,500 names, including tennis legend Arthur Ashe Jr.
We have a wonderful African-American family tree, the largest in the country. So they'll be able to connect with the materials and possibly think about their own creativity and use them.
And that's what this really is all about. The exhibit is the first in the Library of Congress's new multi-year plan called A Library for You. They want to show folks what you can find in their vast collection. And if we break some of that down, the library has more than 8 million pieces of sheet music, more than 15 million photographs, and about 77 million manuscripts. By the way, you can find a lot of this on their website, too. For example, if you searched, I don't know, Babe Ruth, you might find this picture of the great Bambino holding a monkey at the St. Louis Zoo. So you never know what you might find and learn.
Our thanks to Danny New for that. Looks exciting. And tonight we told you about the Surgeon General's urgent call for warning labels on social media platforms like those for tobacco and alcohol. Well, slowly states across the country are starting to introduce regulations in order to monitor the social media use of minors. But how far is too far? Our wide-ranging conversation with parents, lawmakers, experts, whistleblowers, and of course the young people who would be most impacted is coming up next. Stay right here to stream Generation Swipe. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and, of course, on abcnews.com. The news never stops. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was